Hello everyone and welcome to HotCars, and with me today is the 2021 Audi Q3. Now I want to apologize ahead of time for the filth of this vehicle. We have had some very wet days here in the valley, and also I need to address a good thank you to Glenmore Audi that have lent this vehicle out for me for a couple days to try it out. So let's get on the road so I can share with you everything that I like and what I don't like about this car, and if it's a good choice in this very competitive subcompact crossover segment. So I'd like to apologize quickly ahead of time that if you hear a lot of grit flying about underneath and water rushing all over the bodywork, that's just how wet these roads are, and if they impede with what I'm saying, I apologize for that. But here we are in the top of the line Q3, and even though this is the entry-level vehicle for Audi's crossovers, I don't feel like I'm particularly missing out on much. There's a few things I'll bring up that I don't think are the best of what Audi can do, but this vehicle is set to a specific price point to go after a specific customer. So we'll start off with the interior because this is what's going to sell a lot of people on this Q3. There's a lot of technology that's available in the much more expensive models, like the Audi Virtual Cockpit, which we've seen in so many models in the past. We've got the 10.1-inch touchscreen, which is the larger of the touchscreens that you'll find in the much bigger Audi flagship models, and it is just so wonderful to use. It is easy to go in between menus. Might actually be one of the sharpest displays on sale, and you have as standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but when you go up higher in the range, you'll have wireless Apple CarPlay. The model I'm also testing out has the S-Line appearance pack, so alongside giving you the badges on the outside and a few other different material uses within the cabin, you do get these S-Line specific seats, and they do feel like they hug the shoulders a little bit more, and as a taller driver I quite like that. But the best feature of them is that they have a little sliding leg rest portion, so just that extra couple of inches really makes the difference for long highway cruises for tall people such as myself. Nice to point out that there is a little bit of ultra suede stitched into the side, and we have the contrast stitching on the seats and other parts of the stitched plastics and leathers across this cabin, and that all looks really good. In addition to that, you will have the S-Line specific steering wheel as well, which gives you the S badging down below, of course, and then these little perforated grips on the side. Doesn't really change anything in terms of driving dynamics, but it is a very big and thin wheel. Biggest grievance with it is that because it is a heated steering wheel, you don't get the paddle shifters, and for it being an S-Line model, I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity, even though I doubt there's very few people out there buying this vehicle that want to shift the 8-speed automatic by themselves, with the paddles. If it's an S-Line package vehicle, I should expect that feature to be in this car. Anyways, interacting with the climate controls, the easiest thing in the world. A couple buttons down below where you can change your driving modes, you can turn on and off the parking sensors, hill descent control, and the automatic parallel parking feature. A couple of other issues: it's definitely not the best build quality I've seen in an Audi. There's a little bit of flex in the door cards, and even though these are soft plastics, they're borderline a bit too rigid, even though it makes up for this for the soft parts where you rest your elbows and right across the dashboard. Down here in the center tunnel, that's very well put together, but very hard plastics too. The only parts bin thing in here to make you think that it is shared with the smaller, cheaper vehicles across the Volkswagen company is this gear lever. This looks straight out of a Tiguan, but if it's foolproof and functional, then really how mad can you get? Even with the full-size panoramic sunroof, I do have a couple inches above my head so I don't feel cramped. There's enough knee room so I can happily rest my legs wherever I need to. And the visibility all around is very good. So what do we have for a power plant? In Canada, the only way to get the Q3 is with all-wheel drive, and I know that's what everyone in this class of vehicle is expecting. I'm glad Audi finally ditched the front-wheel drive option, because it's just a cheap trick to try and get more people into the dealership because they see that lower advertised price. But with the world-renowned Quattro all-wheel drive, it is a front-wheel drive based all-wheel drive system, so unless the back end is really stepping out, the vehicle in the most part stays front-wheel drive. For now, the Q3 only has one engine option, and that's the 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that makes 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. As a whole, I like the engine, but I find that there's a bit too much throttle lag. Not turbo lag, throttle lag. So when I put my foot into it, that was a good 1.5 seconds of waiting for the engine and the transmission to respond. And if you're driving about in town, if you just want light throttle adjustments, that's where I find it can be a little hesitant to react to your inputs. Going from dynamic mode will solve that problem, but then it makes the transmission too eager to hold on to gears for too long. Of course, the Q3 is a small vehicle with a small wheelbase, and that makes it incredibly maneuverable in a parking lot. When you get onto more broken up surfaces on in-town driving, you can find that the ride can be a little bit busy, and if you're in need of changing direction very quickly, this Q3 can feel a little bit top heavy, but it is redeeming that when you're on the highway, this vehicle feels very planted, very stable, and the steering stays dead straight. So I've had no issues taking this small vehicle on long highway drives. To my eye, the Q3's exterior is quite a handsome design. I like how they've really brought it in line with the rest of the Audi lineup. And here, this vehicle has the black optics pack. So we've got the blacked out grille, blacked out wing mirrors, and a few other black details across the vehicle. You'll notice that with the Q3, much like a lot of its brethren, has fake exhaust outlets. What you see on the bumper is closed off, and this is an uphill battle that I believe people like myself and other individuals that hate the way Audi is doing things, we're losing the battle. They keep doing it with all the new models of the smaller engines that we see, and quite frankly, I'm gonna have to start giving up on this because they're obviously not listening to what we think of the design of the Q3. Outside of that, like I said, I think it's handsome. I like looking in the wing mirrors where you can see that little bit of a square wheel arch. Looking behind the door handle, that's a quite nice look to me. And the black pack really helps sell the maturity of this model. With the interior, it is a subcompact crossover, but I'm happy to report that I can sit behind myself with a relative good amount of comfort. There's quite a few more hard plastics back there, but Audi didn't totally cheap out. You still have the ambient lighting strip within that silver piece of trim. You have a USB-C and a cigarette lighter plug-in, and you can fold down an armrest in the middle seat to get some cup holders and of course an armrest. But the great thing is with the practicality of this Q3 is that all 3 seats can fold down independently. So that's great for anybody that needs to load in skis with a couple of their friends. That's a feature I think is crucial in this class of vehicle. And the rear boot space is pretty good too. We've got a space saver spare wheel and a little bit of additional storage underneath that false floor. In this top of the line trim, some of the other pieces of equipment include the Bang & Olufsen sound system, the 360-degree camera, parking sensors, and the best of what Audi offers in their active safety technology. So major competition to this Audi Q3 would include the Volvo XC40, Mercedes, GLA, BMW X1 and X2, and the Cadillac XT4. Of those vehicles that I've driven, this Q3 personally stands above the rest. It's not trying too hard into being a driver's car, but it has all of the premium touches and the latest features of the premium brand in their smallest, cheapest offering. For me personally, I really like the charm of the Volvo XC40. It has a lot more taller of a roof, so taller individuals like myself can get a little happier, and it's slightly more practical. But there's very little doubt that this Audi Q3 is built better and has some nicer materials as well. So let's park up back to where we started and finish up this review of the Audi Q3. So there you go. Those are my thoughts towards the Q3. Even though this is in essence the entry-level Audi, I really don't think you're missing out on a lot. I don't think they've cheaped you out in any way. I think this is overall a very competitive product. So thank you very much for taking the time to watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all those other great things here on HotCars. Hope to see you again on the channel soon.